if you've got an app that's taking any kind of data from your database, at some point you're going to manipulate it, filter it, and get a sum of values. That's what this video is all about. So here we have an app that is designed to record exercise training plans. For me specifically, cycling, running, swimming. I use it literally every day, and it's on my phone and it works brilliantly. In the context of this particular video, we are interested in this column here, which calculates our distance year to date for each of the activities. I'm going to concentrate on swimming as the demonstration because swimming has some extra sort of filtering of the Supabase table to get the answer. So what we do, on page load, we've got 3 custom actions: bike distance, swim distance, and run distance. So if we get down to swim distance, so we're calling custom actions. We are passing parameters, user ID in the table. So we've got a table in Supabase we'll get to in a minute called user data, and what that does, every time I upload a workout, it goes into there against my user ID, so we know that it's my workout. We've got a plan name, which is the training plan I'm following, and the action output variable is called swim distance, or swim dist. So essentially what it does, it calculates the distance year to date for me for that particular training plan, and that's the information that is displayed in each of these text boxes. This is conditional if you want to be imperial or metric, so meters and yards. That's all conditional. That's again not within the scope of this. We're purely interested in getting this number here. So that's conditional actions, and then the code behind that. So in the swim distance, we're passing the user ID and the training plan name. We are returning a double. So if we go back to the page again, just back to the actions, we're passing in user ID and the plan name. That's these, returning a double, which would actually return a raw response, but it is a double. We'll see that when we get to Supabase because it's numeric. So what we're using is the Supabase RPC, which is remote procedure call, and we're calling a function called swim distance, and we are passing in the parameters to that function, the user ID and the plan. So these are the names of those particular 2 variables within the Supabase function, and these are values we're passing into them. So all this does, calls a Supabase function, returns a raw response, which just happens to be a double, and it works. So here we're on the Supabase side. So this is the table that we're looking to sum some values from. It is the user data table. So we navigate via tables, user data, and we are looking for the workout 3 distance column, and the variables we are filtering by to get our sum is the user ID. We are summing by the workout type, which is swimming, and you see most of these are swimming. We are filtering by the training plan, which is when to try training in this instance. Those are the training plans in the table, and we are filtering by the date, which is anything after the 1st of January 2024, and then we're returning that value back to Flutterflow to display the sum in our text widget on the dashboard. That's essentially what we're doing. So the function we are calling was swim distance. If you remember from our remote procedure call, we're calling the swim distance function, we're passing in the user ID and the plan name. So if we go to database, functions, come on Supabase, keep up. Okay. There we go. Right, so we're going database, functions, and then the function we're calling in this instance, obviously there's the others as well, but is swim distance. Now, there are the arguments we're passing in, the variables. We return numeric, which is not an integer, a sort of a decimal number. And we are, so if we go to the edit function, so there we are. This is the SQL statement that we're working with. We're declaring the total distance with a type numeric. We are summing the values that we're going to collect into total distance from our user data table, and we're filtering that data by the user ID, which is as long as it matches the user ID we're passing in. In fact, the plan matches the plan we're passing in, and we work out type swimming, which we've hard coded in because it's all going to be swimming for this particular value, and we've hard coded in the date because it's a once a year thing. You can do it by a variable. This is a private app with a small sort of number of users, so to change this once a year is not really a hardship. If you've got a proper app with a public user base, probably you maybe don't want to do that. You want everything to be automated as possible, so pass it with a variable, and then we are essentially returning the total distance, which if it returns a null, it will return a 0. That's what the function is doing. So if we go over to the SQL editor or SQL editor, or I'll call it SQL, I know there's a few ways of doing it. Go to the SQL editor, and then we are create a place function. What that would do, that command creates or replaces the function in the database functions. So that creates this or replaces it if you run it again, but what it won't do is replace. If you're trying to replace your argument types, it will throw an error, so you'd have to delete this particular function and run it again to recreate it. But if we go to the SQL editor, and then essentially it's the same thing, it's just I create them in here and then run them, so they're in there, and then you can do other things in here as well because it allows you to sit and just test stuff, query the database, different options without creating loads of functions and having to delete them. So that's how the Supabase side works. So on the Flutterflow side, we've obviously been through this already, but we're calling the swim distance, we're passing in these parameters, and we're getting the response, which is a type double, which we're displaying in the text widget. That's essentially really the process. I will post down below a link to download the code for the RPC, so I'll download one of those, post one of those for download, and I will also post one of these so you can copy and paste those, use them in your own apps and databases, and return the values. So pretty straightforward. So hopefully that helps, and it helps you return some values to your apps. Thanks for watching.